Business news now with Charles Pellegrin. The US officially ramping up their tariffs on steel and aluminium overnight.
Donald Trump had announced he was going to do it last Friday and signed the directive this Tuesday. And now from this Wednesday on, importers of foreign steel and aluminium products will no longer be paying a 25% tariff, but a 50% one. The order defended the move by saying the previous 25% charge didn't go far enough in helping domestic manufacturers develop and maintain their rates of capacity production, and that posed a national security risk. The order could have far-reaching consequences. The metals are a key input in a wide range of products, going from cars and all the way to canned goods.
So which countries could be most affected then, Sean?
Well, it's important to note that one country has gotten an exemption to this tariff increase, and that's the United Kingdom, as the two nations reached an agreement on a trade framework last month and are working on new levies or quotas by a July 9th deadline. But the UK isn't a top exporter of either steel or aluminium to the US. The countries most affected are its neighbors Canada and Mexico, as well as Brazil and East Asian nations like China, South Korea, and Taiwan. Asked about those tariffs, Mexico's economy secretary criticized the decision and said he would ask for his country to be exempted as well, just like the UK.
I don't think these tariffs are sustainable. Just like previous ones, they'll need to be adjusted due to their significant economic impact. We will ask on Friday that Mexico be excluded from this measure, just like the United Kingdom has been. How do I see this measure? I see it as unfair, unsustainable, and inconvenient.
And meanwhile, Mexico's minister hinting at something here where he said the tariffs can't be sustained over time.
This has been one of the major arguments against these tariffs, that they end up hurting everyone, exporting countries as well as importing countries, because tariffs can often lead to higher inflation and a slowdown in consumer demand. The OECD actually slashed its forecast for U.S. growth because of these tariffs and their likely consequences. Their March predictions saw U.S. economic activity increase by just over 2% this year and 1.6% next. That's in gray. And their latest predictions that came out on Tuesday in blue show an even starker picture, with 1.6% growth this year and 1.5% next. And it's not just the tariffs, it's the policy uncertainty around them, which makes planning very difficult, whether it's because many of Trump's tariffs, though not the metal ones, are being challenged in court, or because of now in the infamous taco trade. The Trump always chickens out trade, which is a move coined by traders who've been betting on the fact that despite all his bluster, Trump always ends up retreating from his more aggressive policy moves after market concerns are raised. And perhaps that taco trade is something that countries like Mexico are counting on.
I think it's going to stick, isn't it, that taco business? Let's move on with a check on the markets this hour, Charles.
After a positive day of trading on Tuesday, we're seeing shares trading higher again this Wednesday, especially after a tech rally on Wall Street. Traders clearly shrugging off those 50% tariffs on steel and aluminium. A quick update as well on U.S.-China trade negotiations, which investors are looking at very closely. They're not going well, it seems. Trump taking to social media to say it's extremely hard to make a deal with Xi Jinping.
Something completely different to end with in business. Here in France, in fact, an iconic company is succeeding in turning its fortunes around.
Ever since the then troubled French glassware manufacturer Duralex was taken over by its own workers and became a cooperative last year, they've been turning the iconic firm's fortunes around. Now, to mark the brand's 80th birthday, they've opened a competition for French children to design what will become their new line. This story from our colleagues at France 2 and our own Luc Schrager.
Staff at this Duralex boutique have good reason to be proud. They've turned things around for the once bankrupt glassware company they themselves now run, boosting sales by breaking out of the usual molds, from changing the form to using coloured glass for traditional designs.
We've brought it out in every colour. People can choose 6 matching colours or have a set where they're each different.
At €14 for 6 glasses, the strategy seems to be working. Duralex sales are up 22%. Another selling point for these tourists is nostalgia.
You can't find them in Canada anymore. When we walked past on the street, we thought, oh, Duralex, that's my childhood. That's why I'm buying them today.
With Duralex a feature of many a French schoolchild's canteen lunch over the years, that nostalgia factor is easy to capitalise on. And for its 80th anniversary, the glassmaker's now giving new generations a chance to make their own mark on company history with a competition. The only requirement, creativity.
I think it's more for summer, so I draw lots of different landscapes.
The ultimate winner will see their design rolled out over a new line.
I like space. I think it's intriguing.
When you put water in, it'll go yellow, purple, brown and other colours.
The results of the Duralex competition will be drawn on June 17th.
John, thank you very much. Charles Pellegrin with the business for us here on France 24.